my name is Danielle.
I'm Chris and this is Boo.
And today we will be explaining the concept of chemical reactions, which is what we learned in Chapter 7 and applied to the chemical reactions worksheet in pages 81 through 84 in our lab manual. So to help explain it today, I'll be demonstrating the process of fermentation, which is the chemical reaction of yeast from glucose to carbon dioxide and ethanol during the baking process. So a little thing to get started about yeast. It is a live single-cell fungus, and this organism is dormant until it comes in contact with warm water. And once it comes in contact with the warm water, that's when yeast begins feeding on the sugars in the flour, and it releases the carbon dioxide to make the bread rise. So the chemical reaction for when glucose reacts with yeast and it creates ethanol and carbon dioxide is C6H12O6 reacting with yeast to create 2C2H5OH plus 2CO2. For every one glucose molecule, 2 molecules of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of ethanol are formed. So to demonstrate this, we're going to be baking dough. And the first step to starting the fermentation process is to mix our yeast with warm water. So when we combine the two ingredients, we have to mix it up and make sure everything is mixed well. So now that our yeast is dissolved into the water, we're going to add our melted butter and our sugar and salt creation. And then thoroughly combine all those ingredients together. So now that all of our ingredients are combined, we are going to be adding our flour to start the creation of the dough. So we're going to add 1 cup of flour at a time to slowly incorporate it into the mixture. So now that we added all of our flour, we're going to take out our dough and put it on a floured surface and knead the dough for around 3 minutes so that everything incorporates into the dough. Can you stop the video? Now that we have kneaded the dough for around 3 minutes, it should look something like this. And once we are done, we're gonna place it into a little bowl sprayed with non-stick spray.
Oh, better.
And place our dough in the bowl and then cover it with a towel and let it rest for around 30 minutes, and that is when the fermentation process will start to take place. So now that we've let our dough rise for around 30 minutes, we are going to grab and make little bite-sized pieces of the dough to put in boiling water and then put on a baking sheet and bake it in the oven for our pretzel bites to form. So what we're going to do is grab a little bite-sized piece, roll it up in a ball, and plop it into boiling water for around 20 to 30 seconds. You can tell when the dough is ready once it starts to rise. So now that it's been around 20 to 30 seconds, we are going to grab our dough ball, put it on our baking tray, brush it with egg wash, pop it in the oven, and then that's how we are going. be putting the egg wash onto the little pretzel bites after they were boiled. So now that we've brushed on all the egg wash onto the pretzel bites, we're gonna pop them in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. And everything's gonna finalize, it's gonna bake, and then we'll have our pretzel bites. Alright, so now that our pretzel bites are out of the oven and they're all cooked and ready to go, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a couple at a time. Put them in some butter, mix them around a little bit, grab them out, and toss them into some cinnamon sugar and mix it all up. Then, when we're all done, our pretzels have the topping of cinnamon and sugar with a side of glaze that we made on the side. That's butter, cream cheese, and powdered sugar mixed together. And this concludes my presentation and lab exercise of how chemical reactions work with the process of fermentation from yeast turning glucose into carbon dioxide and ethanol. Thank you.